Kamala crash. We're going to have a crash like 1929 if she gets in. It will not be pretty.
Can the market crash again? Absolutely. It happened in 2008 and in 2020. So is another crisis or market crash inevitable in the near future? What's the probability? In my opinion, yes, it's very highly likely, and not for the reason you may think. What if I told you that the financial playbook for 2025 is already in motion, and it's actually riddled with crisis, manipulation, massive opportunities, and is a deliberate strategy for the ultra wealthy and billionaires? It might sound like a conspiracy to you, I understand, but by the end of this video, you'll realize that it's not a conspiracy, and crises that take place aren't accidents for them. They're strategically coordinated events for the ultra wealthy to buy assets dirt cheap, multiply their fortunes, and come out even richer on the other side.
Maybe an inside job.
The system would collapse.
So, in this video, I'll explain briefly and concisely why the ultra wealthy and the billionaires are actually extremely desperate for another temporary, short-lived crisis/crash, and why in 2025 will be the perfect year for them to orchestrate a crisis that will actually serve as the perfect excuse for them to step in and save the day with excessive money printing that will ultimately lead to a rapid V-shaped recovery, making the rich even richer and sending asset prices through the roof.
We're in the middle of the biggest bull market of our generation or any other.
Second producer signed off on leave, citing mental collapse/overload.
You see, every time there's a single downturn or a significant market crash or crisis, whether you believe it's engineered or not is almost irrelevant, because one thing is for certain, and that serves true over time, is that after these crashes, ultra wealthy and the billionaires always happen to be in a much better position than they were before the crash, and that's the result of a wealth transfer. Now, in 2008 and 2020, bailout money became the lifeline for the entire global economy, and banks were actually within 24 hours of being completely frozen. In 2008, the government stepped in to save both the economy and the big banks with artificial life support to keep the system from collapsing and to keep it going, essentially. Known as quantitative easing, or QE, this was the tool they used. And in 2020, they followed that exact same playbook. These two events showed us how the government's ability to create money out of thin air during economic crashes and uncertain times has remarkably proven to be effective at keeping the world and the economies going and avoiding a total collapse. And it's proven true. And yes, while we have been in a bubble, in an everything bubble since 2009, the fact is that bubbles can inflate even further, and a bubble can turn into an even greater bubble before it eventually pops, which will ultimately happen at some point in the future. As structured as those bailouts were, and appeared to be, they were remarkably beneficial for billionaires and the ultra wealthy's financial well-being. And for most people, however, the story was vastly different. Wages have failed to keep up with the pace of true inflation since 2008. Jobs were lost in masses, particularly in 2020, devastating countless families and people across the world, especially in the US. And meanwhile, the cost of living has only risen, leaving the majority of people to hold the burden of rising prices without the benefit of increased earnings to keep up with true inflation. In 2020, the situation only worsened. The widespread of business foreclosures, unemployment, and massive money printing all happened at the same time. While small and local businesses were forced to shut down, large corporations remained open, leading to a mass consolidation of economic and wealth power in the hands of a few. This wasn't just an economic downturn. It was basically a significant shift of wealth and influence from small businesses to big corporations and billionaires, concentrating more power into the hands of a few, ultimately achieving multiple agendas simultaneously during these crises.
What do you mean, a financial crisis?
You see, while the money printing programs benefited the economy and stimulated the markets for a period of time, it proven to be fundamental to keeping the economies and the markets inflated and going. While everyday people struggled, the ultra-wealthy thrived. And the truth is, the billionaires not only avoided the fallout, but they prospered from it, and the corporations did too. Why? Because the money printing programs are strategically structured in a way where the bailouts were structured to inject funds into the banks and the major financial institutions. And these institutions and billionaires then use that capital to inflate financial assets like stocks, real estate, properties, gold, and even cryptocurrencies and digital assets. The result? A tidal wave of money, an influx of capital poured into the markets.
I don't think we can underestimate the impact of the ECB's quantitative easing measures and, of course, the liquidity wave from the US Federal Reserve rate hike getting pushed back.
Pushing asset prices and values to new highs, while devaluing the fiat currency purchasing power. You see, what looked like a rescue plan to save the economy was in reality a wealth transfer that left the majority struggling and basically cemented even greater dominance and power for the ultra-wealthy, the billionaires, and the big corporations, and the politicians that knew what was coming. It's clear that the bailouts may have seemed like a lifeline, but they were undeniably designed to serve the interests of the billionaires and the corporations and financial institutions. And you're probably wondering, why would the billionaires and Republicans, which make up often the party of the wealthy, why would they even want a crash in the markets and the economy when they have so much money tied up in assets and investments? And why? Well, the truth is, you might think it makes no sense, but it actually does. And this is the twist. This is exactly how the rich get even richer. Now, is there a cause for concern? Without a doubt. But alongside the challenges and these crises that come, these are actually moments that bring rare opportunities, and these billionaires and insiders capitalize on them. Did you know that from 2009 to 2020, the combined wealth of America's billionaires actually increased by over 80%? And in 2020 alone, the world's 2,356 billionaires saw their wealth jump by 54% plus, all in just 1 year. You see, crises and market crashes aren't accidents. They are strategically engineered at the right time and always result in a massive wealth transfer. These events are opportunities for the ultra-wealthy and the billionaires to buy assets dirt cheap before prices soar again. And that's exactly what they did. They took advantage of the situation to maintain their wealth and their power and multiply their fortunes. It was strategic. If you like these videos and if you would like to speak with me or my brother one-on-one, feel free to message me, or you can book a call on our website. We'll be happy to speak with you, share our knowledge, our wisdom, and cover various topics within the financial sector, digital assets, precious metals, and investment landscape.
He knows his shit.
You got that right.
Now, as horrible as these events may be, the ultra-wealthy and the billionaires and financial institutions are positioned in a very unique way to thrive during these market crashes and recessions. They are prepared and they have capital on the sidelines ready to deploy. Even though these events may devastate most people, they know that every market crisis and crash is inevitably followed by a recovery, often driven by their own networks that step in and save the day. While fear paralyzes most people, they actually take advantage of the opportunity, buying assets dirt cheap at rock bottom prices right before the market rebounds again. Now, why do I believe the next crisis or financial market crash is 100% inevitable under Trump's administration in 2025? Let me explain. In 2009, central banks all around the world, including the US Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank, lowered interest rates to near zero as an emergency response to the 2007 and 2008 financial crisis. So, since 2009, near zero interest rates have set the stage for a global 4-year debt refinancing cycle. What does that mean? That means every 4 years, as of 2009, the US government must refinance its national debt. We're now past 36 trillion. And high interest rates are simply unaffordable. And it happens to be that in 2025, a massive wave of treasury debt refinancing is due. And at current rates, close to 4%, the government faces a financial dilemma it can't ignore. In other words, the bulk of the treasury refinancing becomes unavoidable in 2025, and they need an option. So, what does the debt refinancing cycle have to do with market crashes and market booms? Well, here's proof. From 2015 to 2016, heavy treasury issuance for post-crisis recovery and fiscal stimulus aligned with the 2017 crypto boom and the 2018 crash, coincidentally. Between 2019 and 2023, maturing treasury debt, including from the 2020 emergency stimulus, coincidentally coincided with the pandemic response and the 2020 market crash. Now, as more debt from 2014 and 2015 matures in 2025, we also have to pay the interest on the 2020 stimulus debt, which is due. Now, adding further strain to an already volatile and weak market and a national debt crisis. So in 2025, while the Fed downplays inflation and insists that rate cuts aren't on the table and lie all they want, they'll continue their game. This is a game. As Treasury refinancing pressure grows, they will have no other options but to refinance their debt, and to do that, they'll engineer a crisis to serve as a pretext for emergency measures. The goal here will be to refinance massive amounts of debt under more favorable conditions, enabling the Fed to slash rates, refinance cheaply, buy assets dirt cheap, and give out cheap money, and flood the system with liquidity, driving the markets back up and asset prices through the roof. This is literally their economic policy and strategy, and they're all in on it, and that's the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. The result will be a rise in inflation down the road, driving asset prices sky high and fueling a bull market in 2025. But after several months to 12 months, the cycle will shift into contraction with a crash, ushering us into the next bear market. Now, this pattern is extremely clear, and their next moves become even more crystal clear if we pay attention to these details that actually took place throughout history and what's going on a macro scale. You see, the cycle repeats itself again and again, and the ultra-wealthy understand that recessions and crashes are temporary and that economic recoveries are inevitable and will drive asset prices to new heights. So they are desperate for a crash. The people who create the mess always make more money cleaning up the mess, and that is a fact and has been proven throughout history. This is how they operate. So while we may not have a crystal ball, their playbook is extremely crystal clear. This is their strategy, and there's no avoiding it. So taking a step back, this allows us to anticipate their moves and understand the reasoning behind their actions. Engineering a crisis, printing more money, and needing a solid excuse to justify it. Most importantly, we can predict and have a sense of what comes after the crash. So when the dust settles, the billionaires and savvy investors will be the ones to reap the benefits, while the shadow bankers and governments behind the scenes will already be eyeing the next crash and ready to deploy their capital. This is a cycle that we have no control over, and it will inevitably transition into a new cycle or system in the future, but we don't know when. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time.